So as many of you guys probably already know, the luxury modern day equipment in older cars, especially 90s JDMs like Apple CarPlay, are non-existent in these cars unless you were to change out the double din radio, which involves a bunch of wirings. And when you get down to it, wiring in general is just a pain, especially if you're unfamiliar with it, if you have an import vehicle, or if you try to find a shop to work on and you're not comfortable with them. I've seen plenty of workarounds on YouTube for like aux cables and trying to do something for radio stations. However, with import vehicles, they don't connect to the same frequency as the US. So you kind of have to do a double din radio, but I don't want to. In theory, it might sound a little ghetto since it's still rough around the edges. However, after I completed it, I honestly don't think it looks too bad, especially when I color match it to the plastics of the car so it looks a little bit more flush. However, this is how it looks right now. To quickly summarize it, in case people are just uninterested or just want to just skip forward to the video, is an iPad that is hooked up to this wire here, and internally it does connect to these tweeters over here, so I can actually play everything through the car and connect it to music, Google Maps, and call people. It is an iPad that I have a custom focus mode here that turns into an Apple CarPlay, and it does have the widgets here to do this. Like I said, I will go into more depth later on in the video, and it has the standard Apple CarPlay split screen that most people are usually used to. Thinking of using this cardboard and making kind of like a template, and then I have my old license plate from my old car when I first got it like 3-4 years ago. I was thinking of using that cardboard, making a template, and then I can put that template on this license plate and bend it, and then from there I can use those magnets. All right, so everything's gonna be taken off in 3, 2, 1. Now that it's off and we have a better look, I was meaning these bolts that I could take the screw off and make the bracket. Essentially, once I put this back on, that gap right here would be where the bracket goes over the screen. And then that's where I can magnetize the iPad mini. I think once I clean it up and maybe I get like a metal primer and spray paint, I could paint it black so it doesn't look as crazy, or maybe like a gray that matches this. This is the general shape. The radio is going to sit in here, and this little bracket is going to go around the radio, and this will bolt in. So you kind of get the idea like that. It's gonna sit like that. So we're going to trim a little square gap right here so this can sit flush in this little hole, and we'll get a template on that. It's gonna look like this. So it's a 90 degree right here, about 2.5 inches, and then about maybe a 1/2 inch or so. And then you're just gonna drill a hole where the bolt lines up. It's gonna look like this. I'll try to make this work. It's already here, so why not? I kind of figured it would be the right size, but I'm only literally off by these little corner tabs, unfortunately. So what I'm gonna do is I think I'm just gonna cut this out right here. I'm gonna bend it. I'm gonna see if I can find out another way I can hold it together, but let's just see. Instead of utilizing this screw hole like I originally was thinking, I actually just wedged it right between the radio mount on both sides, and it's like super sturdy. To mount this iPad mini, I got this on Amazon. I think it was only like $14, around that. But it's a two metal brackets with magnets on it, and I mean these magnets are like crazy strong. It's hard to separate. Included in the kit, they have these 2 rectangle magnets that have 3M tape, so you can honestly put it wherever you want. I just put it on this cheap case that I got on Amazon. I actually cut the flap off, so it's literally just the back of the clear case, so I can mount it to the other magnets they provided. And after giving it some thought, I just trimmed this aluminum bracket down a little bit more so I can have some more airflow, because if you live in Georgia like me, the humidity here is just outrageous. Put the iPad a little bit lower now, and it sits more flush, so only the essentials show down here, like the volume up and down and then play and start. I'll give you guys an example of how the radio would be in the car if I'm driving. So obviously turning the car on, it does turn on the iPad since it's plugged in, but just open the iPad, and I actually made a custom CarPlay focus mode for the iPad. So there's a bunch of different custom options that I made here for the car, just so it emulates. Anyways, just so it emulates kind of like what a CarPlay will be in a modern car. So if I do click this right here, it goes back to the standard iPad that people are used to. Here's a widget for settings. I do have a brightness, so I can adjust it on the fly if I'm driving at night and it is too bright. There's the standard YouTube search, Google search, some chatting apps, and I can have contacts and messages, so I can click those and use a microphone to speak just like any person were to do with their Apple CarPlay and their vehicle. And if you click this right here, it does the split screen mode that most people are pretty much used to in their modern day vehicles. And like I said, it does utilize the standard OEM radio. So here's the volume, as you can see. And you could skip, go to different songs, lower. Honestly, I think overall, you can't go wrong with this, especially if you don't want to mess with the wiring or having to go to a shop to get a doubled-in radio. And if you want to keep the authenticity of the Japanese radio while still having some convenience of modern day technology, I would definitely highly suggest doing this. Doesn't break the bank either. These are pretty fairly cheap. You can get them on Marketplace. Hopefully this helped out if anybody was interested in doing something like this. I appreciate any and all you guys who have been showing some love here on my YouTube channel regarding content on the S15. If you're enjoying the video, don't forget to hit the subscribe and drop a like below. It'd be greatly appreciated. I am going to be posting a video here shortly explaining what I've been going through regarding my S15 with title and registration here in Georgia. I would definitely stick around and watch that if you guys have an import vehicle in Georgia or any state of the matter. There's a lot of people that are misinformed and don't understand as far as registering and titling. So I definitely, like I said, would stick around and follow up on that next video because it might help you out. With that being said, I'll catch you guys in the next one.